Yo, what's good gamers? What's good? My name is Dr. Ryan Terao, Psych Sensei here. Happy Wednesday. I hope everyone's having a bomb hump day, and if not, yo, welcome and let's make it good, shall we? So in this 10-minute morning message, something that I've been thinking about is when things get hard or when things get really challenging, how are you able to persist through this bad feeling or this negative attitude, mindset, perspective, whatever you want to call it? Most recently, I had a player that was in comms and you could tell that he was very tilted, very upset. He was just not having a good time. And so I had to pull him aside and be like, dude, what's going on, man? And he's like, I don't see any hope in this thing. I'm done. Like, I don't want to be here. And I told him, dude, don't be here. Straight up, don't be here. If you don't want to play, if you don't want to be here, you don't have to be here. You can be anywhere you want, but if you don't want to be here playing and if you don't want to be here trying to improve, don't be here. And he was quiet. I think he suspected me to say something else, but at the same time, I told him, like, dude, I can't make you play if you don't want to. I can't make you do these things. So if you want to be here, be here. But if you don't want to be here, you don't have to be here. In fact, if you're tired and if you don't want to show up today, don't come. And then I thought more about this conversation that I had and this mindset that one of my players had. And what I was thinking about is extreme thinking. On one side, you have can, and on the other side, you have cannot. On one side, you have possible. On the other side, you have impossible. On one side, you have do, and on the other side, you have don't. What's in the middle? How does one get there? Either possible, impossible, do, don't, can, cannot. Like, how does someone get to either one of these edges? And really, I thought, well, it probably comes in one of two ways. One, it's in your mind, and the other is like a physical thing. Like, can you actually do that with your abilities? And then I was thinking, how does one actually first understand or think that they can or cannot? I was like, oh, it's a thinking thing. There are so many quotes out there, like the man who thinks that they can and cannot, they're both correct. Like, there's so many cliche quotes out there about setting your mindset right to actually achieve that thing. Blades of Glory says, if you dream it, you can do it. These kinds of things of actually seeing your mind first and then making it happen. Well, what happens when you don't see it, or you see the opposite, that something is impossible, that you can't do it, that you'll never be able to do that thing? What happens? Well, you can't. You'll never be able to do that thing. So if you see a situation as hopeless, as a doomer, as we're never going to come back from this, guess what? You'll find more things that will prove that thought correct. That it is not possible to come back. Like, you're not improving. Like, you cannot win this game. Your mind will find those things that you're thinking about. On the other side, if you're thinking about how can I stay in this game? What do I need to do to come back? How can I make this game a little easier for myself? Then you'll do those things to make that game more fun, more enjoyable, more useful for yourself. Why? Because that is what you're looking for. That is what you keyed your mind to search for. If you want to think of it, it's kind of like Google in that sense. If you want to find whatever you want to find, you can find it through Google. However, Google doesn't dictate your search. Well, I mean, it kind of does, but that's the point. It doesn't really dictate the search. What dictates your search is what you put in that search bar. And here's the thing, even if Google doesn't find that thing that you want, guess what? You can always refine that search a little bit more, but that's your responsibility. The search bar does not search for you. It's the person inputting the search. So if that's the case, what are you searching for? And why is this really important? Well, here's the thing. What your mindset and what your attitude or perspective really does is that it sets effort. The direction of your effort, the amount of effort, the quality of your efforts, all of these things are affected by what you think is possible. And here's the thing, even if you're able to do it, even if you're able to do that thing and you believe that you cannot, you will not. Why? Because even if you did it once, you're like, oh, dude, I did it. I did that thing. I dunked the basketball. I broke a record. Here's the thing. If you do not understand or attribute the correct things to why you're able to do that action, that behavior, you'll never be able to replicate it again because you will misattribute how you're actually able to do it. So for example, you could say, oh, I ran that race or I won that game because I was really lucky. Because the other team threw. Because they made a mistake and all died and that led us back into the game and that's how we won. If we continue to look at external attributes of why things happen that are outside of control, good luck doing it again in the future, because how are you supposed to replicate a team throwing? How are you supposed to replicate a team making a mistake? How are you supposed to replicate a team dying? You can't. Or you can, but it's much more challenging than what did you do to cause that mistake? What did you do to force the other team to do that thing? What did you do outside of practice or inside of practice to do that thing in the game? What were those things that you did that were in your control? Because again, if we continue to attribute these more outside of our control to why we're able to do something, we cannot replicate into the future. You can do it. It's just gonna be a little more difficult for you to figure it out. But over time, if you really put forth that effort, you keep persisting, you keep trying, you keep building, you keep going, you will be able to do it. Then when you are able to do it, you need to attribute all the things that were in your control, the things that you worked on, the things that you tried to improve so you could do it again. That is how you continue to improve. That's how you continue to persist and get better. I'm not saying that on bad days, because we all have bad days. Your sensei included have bad days. They're just so hard, or like the things that you're trying to learn seem so out of reach. Everyone has a bad sit down cry day. It's a natural part of the process of learning. You're gonna feel shitty, you're gonna feel bad, you're gonna fall on your face. The key thing is getting up and learning how to get back up, or how to keep improving, or how to keep persisting. Because once you set your mind on something is impossible, something is a doomer, there's no hope here, guess what? There is none. At the same time, if you're able to think about what could make it better, how you could get what's yours, how you could improve for yourself. And here's the thing, no one's gonna do it for you. It's all these other people's faults. I'm playing fine. It's all these other people's faults. I'm not getting the information that I need, blah, 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 blah. It's all of them. How could you help yourself? You can ask for information too. You can tell people what you need, but you have to do it. I can't force you to do it. You have to do it, but do you want to do it? That was the biggest question. Do you want to do it? Do you want to improve? Do you want to do the work? Because I can't control all those other people. I can't even control you, but you can. So what do you want to do? That's the biggest question, because I'm sorry, sometimes things aren't going to be easy. Sometimes things aren't going to seem like that have a point, or this thing's dumb and tedious and whatever. But do you want to do it to improve? Because all the practice, all the games, all the reviewing, all the thinking, all the knowledge, all the things that you need to do, it's not sexy. It's not fun. Not all the time. Winning feels good. Losing feels really bad. You're not going to win all the time. But what do you want to do? What do you want to change? That's the biggest thing. And then after that is, what are you willing to do? And then you go do it. I think that's the hugest thing with attitude and mindset is, what are you focusing on? How are you seeing this as a possibility or an impossibility? And why that's all important is because it dictates the quality, amount, and direction of your efforts. Thinking about my own climb, I'm thinking about, what do I want to do to improve? What am I willing to do? How am I able to keep a positive mental or a learning mental throughout this entire climb? And if you're struggling with your own climb or struggling with your own improvement, my first thing is, check your mindset. What are you thinking? What are you telling yourself? Not what you're actually doing. Because it's kind of like an elephant getting tied to a stake at a circus. I know circuses are coming out of style, but you know, back in the day, you would see these elephants, these big old elephants. When you look at them though, they're tied down to a stake. And you're like, how is that elephant not moving? They could totally get out of the stake if they wanted to and just run away and be a free elephant if they wanted to. But they don't. And how come? Any guesses of how that could happen? A big elephant being held down by a little stake. As a little baby elephant, they use that same chain that they chained the elephant up to the ground. The little baby elephant tried to pull and cry and tried to like get themselves out of that thing, but they learned that they couldn't. And that little stake is going to hold them down. And as they grew older, that thought stuck in their head. I cannot get away from this stake. Once this chain comes on me, I am stuck to the ground. So much so that even as a big elephant, their mind told them that they cannot, and they'll stay there trained, that they're stuck here. How many of you are also a big ass elephant with a small little thought chain to the ground that you cannot improve, that you're only hard stuck gold, you're only hard stuck something, and you'll never get out of here, you'll never win another game, it's all my teammates, blah blah blah. What is holding you back? Remember, you are a big ass elephant, and the only thing that is holding you back is that small little chain that you believe can hold you back. Do not let those small little thoughts of it's impossible, it's hopeless, it's can't hold you back, because if you do believe that, it's true and there's nothing that can help you. But as soon as you believe that it could be different, I could do better, I could do things and keep going and keep trying, the world will be your oyster and you can do whatever you want to do, baby. And I'm here to tell you and encourage you to keep trying and keep going. And if not, dude, your sensei's here to work with you, to talk with you, to yell at you, give you what you need to break free from your own mental change. And what's the other phrase? Where your mind goes, energy flows. Wherever your mind is thinking about shapes your perspective. And if you think something is impossible, it is impossible. Another example of that is like the 4-minute mile. Everybody thought the 4-minute mile was humanly impossible. Like no one could run 4 laps around the track in under a minute a lap. And I think it was like Roger Banner, I think was the first dude to do it. But after he did it and broke the it's impossible, dude, high schoolers break the 4-minute mile. It's an achievement, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, it's not an impossibility. With that in mind, what have you thought was impossible? And then you push past it and it's like, oh, this is a possibility. I could do this for me. It's not anybody else. It's not the things holding back. It's just me and how I see it. Anyone else experienced that before? It happens all the time in games and playing from behind. And sometimes it's not even having the knowledge of, oh, how can I turn this around? Or, oh, I just need to make it to 16s and the game's gonna be free. That's what happened yesterday. We literally were losing early game because Sonya's really strong early game. And our team was a Varian, I was a Muradin. TLDR, we were losing early game. Like pre-10s, we were losing. And so this guy's like, oh, you just wanna wait in base. I'm like, no, dude, like why would you just wanna wait in base right now? Muradin's a hard counter to Sonya. It's free, this game's so free. But they're being so toxic and so like, oh, it's over. And they started griefing and it was just a whole fiasco. Just muted them and just played and we won. And it's like, dude, you just don't have the knowledge to see how to win this game, or you don't have the persistence to see how to win this game. Like if you just don't see it or don't think about it or don't try or have zero effort, then yeah, of course the game's lost because you just don't know. You don't know how to try. You don't know how to persist. I don't know how to help you there. As an esports psychologist, as a clinical psychologist, I think that's one of the most challenging things in the field is how do you change someone's perception? Like you can't do that. I can't do that. I can't tell it to you. That's like me trying to describe to you the most beautiful waterfall I've ever seen in my life, or the most beautiful rainbow in Hawaii that I've ever seen. For example, the most beautiful rainbow, one of the most beautiful rainbows I've ever seen in my life. I was out surfing back at home with my dad and it was raining. There was this like amazing mist. The waves were pretty chill. And then this beautiful rainbow, which turned into like a double rainbow, appeared. And it was just misty and it was cool. I was sitting in the waves. Do you see it? And sure, yeah, maybe you can see like, oh, you can imagine like a really crazy double rainbow. But at the same time, like you don't really understand how it is. And it's kind of like, I wish I could just deliver this to you or someone else, but it's kind of like the same thing where you don't understand till you're there, you see it. I guess that's kind of hard when people are just stuck with one perspective or one mindset. They don't see it and don't see how it could be different. I think that's one of the most frustrating things ever. Because how can you change that? You can't really change someone's perspectives. The only way a person's perspective can be changed is just they buy into that perspective and see how it could be different and then they go for it. That is it for me. We learned a lot about what's it like to have a strong mental, how to refocus your mental, gave you a nice little demonstration in game of what a better mental could do versus like a trashy garbage mental. What can happen if you actually have that trolly mental and it can actually leak into your games. Be conscious of what you're thinking about, and where your mind goes, your energy will flow. So always looking at what you can be doing. The difference between can't and cannot, and what's in the middle is perception, mindfulness, your attitude, which all dictates your effort. And that's it for me. So as always, my name is Dr. Ryan Terao, your psych sensei, teaching you how to think, play, and slay, baby. One day, one thought, one game at a time. All right, friends, I will see you on Friday. If I don't see you then, please visit my website, psychsensei.com. There, if you want to work with me, fill out your free consultation form. We can get started today. And as always, I'll see you. Mwah! Big kisses. Take it easy. Peace. Bye.